What's going on, Wolfpack? This is episode 19, and today's guest is Jolie Glassman. So, Jolie has over 35 years of experience in health and fitness training, education, behavior modification, and personal development. Throughout the time, she has been a coach, teacher, mentor, and more recently, an author. Her second book, 1000 Plus Questions to Ask Yourself to Become the Champion of Your Own Life, has its back cover written by Mike Tyson and its foreword written by Muhammad Ali's former wife, Khalila Camacho Ali. Jolie holds a bachelor's degree in education and a master's in behavior modification. Among her many other certifications and accolades, she was awarded the 2024 Lifetime Achievement Award from the President of the United States and the 2020 Personal Fitness Professional Magazine's National Trainer of the Year Award. In addition to training thousands of everyday people, she has also trained professional athletes like Julius Peppers, Dante Stallworth, and LaShawn McCoy. She is currently the owner of South Beach Boxing in Miami Beach, Florida, which she opened in 1998. Very impressive. And I'm honored to have her on the show today. Welcome, Jolie.
The intros.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
I was looking through your bio and I'm like, oh my God, this is one of the biggest bios I have seen. So much experience behind it, so it was difficult to dumb it all down, but I think I did all right.
Thank you. It was great. I love it. It
Yeah. All right. So I want to,
re-inspires me.
yeah, definitely. I think it will inspire a lot of people as well.
Thank you.
So how I want to get started today is I want to learn a little bit more about your own fitness story and your fitness journey, how you got started in fitness. Was there something in your own personal life that you perhaps maybe struggled with that really got you focused on health and fitness and self-development with yourself, in particular the mentality aspect of things also?
So it's funny you asked that question. No one's ever asked me that question, which is funny
No?
because I
Oh,
think it's such an
interesting.
important question because so many people are scared to get in fitness because they think they suck. Meanwhile, if they ask the people at the top,
Hmm.
how they got into fitness, I can almost guarantee most of them came from adversity, like not good or overweight or fat, unless they're in the Olympics competing since they were young. So I was last. I was sucked. I was the teacher that said, like, last one around has to run again. I'd be like, that was so stupid. Why are you going to make me run around again? So I always had a mouth on me, so I would let them know that was
Mm,
stupid, but I was embarrassed. It was embarrassing to be last. I hated being last. I always wanted to be good at sports. It just wasn't, I was just good at school. School was my thing and sports was not my thing. And then when I was got old enough to be able to go to a gym, like 13, 14, is when when he had me run around again, I was decided I was never going to be last again. That was just something I hated being
okay.
embarrassed. I was like, what is the route to get to being those fast kids in the class? How do I get to be like them? So the gym, right, changed my life. I got to go when I was a kid and I ran away really young at 15. My mom was at a very tumultuous house, so I grew from adversity and what not to do, right? And then throughout personal development, I learned that when you try so hard to not be something, you become it. So you got to get the balance of
Mm,
in between that and confront that
hmm.
you are it. But I got into the gym. I was so into fitness. I went every day out of that, never going to be last. How do I get good? How do I get better? And it was in the 91, 92. So I got jobs in gyms and Candy Colby Fitness at Bally's and taught spinning and I used to teach spinning with Beto. And he was just a Spanish
Oh,
dance instructor. And the
okay.
Perlmans picked him up for Zumba. So that's how long ago it was. I wasn't first, but I definitely got better and better and better where I became like it was no wonder I ended up owning a gym because everyone knew I lived in the gym. The gym was just my priority: health, diet, fitness, looking good. I actually realized young that health actually wasn't the goal. It was more looking good. So I was more into
Mm,
looking good. I didn't realize that health was separate from the looking good until I did my NLP master practitioner license, which actually later in life, where I thought all through life I was into health until I did my NLP master prac, and you do your value systems and your beliefs and how you believe what you believe based on your values. And health was not at the top of my list because other things were freedom. So doing what I want when I want was always first. So if it came between a cookie and a salad, the cookie was winning. So, and I was convinced you can outtrain a bad diet because I did it as a kid. In your 20s, you can outtrain anything. So I was able to. And now that there's so much chemicals in the food, it's not even smart if you could prove it to outtrain a bad diet. Now I'm totally into health and wellness, like
Hmm.
completely neurotic. I walk my walk, talk all of it. I juice every day. I drink. I'm nonstop thinking and trying, and I listen to everybody's thoughts on wellness. And because I juice so much and prep so much, I'm constantly habit stacking with different podcasts of health and
Hmm.
wellness. I just don't watch the news, and I dig into what I want to learn, and I really love to immerse myself in total
Hmm.
wellness. And then through my mess is my message. I had a lot of messes. I had a motorcycle accident in 2012. They told me I needed immediate fusion surgery. I had split my head open.
Oh, wow.
He had 11 discs, and my gym is
Oh,
on the second floor. So I was like, how am I going to get up to the second floor and do this fusion surgery? So I learned success leaves clues, follow people that you want to follow that did what you did in the way you want to do it. And I was like, let me get a surgeon off my team. So the accident got me into really elevated health in the sense that I had to learn breath work and meditation, not had to, got to.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
gift of learning. It wasn't a gift in the beginning. But there was a straw where I was going through all of my healings of chasing like decompression, doing everything I needed to do to not have the surgery, which was no joke. And this is 8 and 5, 13 years now. And I remember this one lady, I keep saying I got to go thank her. Do this, I have to do this. But she says to me, honey, I was driving her every day for decompression. And this is like 10 months in after doing neck decompression. And I had vertigo and long concussion. And she's like, honey, you need to relax. And I was like, keep hearing this word. Like, I don't get it. Like, why do people keep telling me to relax? Like, I watch TV or lay down. And I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to go take you up on that. And I'm going to learn how to relax. So there went my journey of really learning parasympathetic and how shavasana and NSDR and I want to learn your Butenko, just learning different kinds of breath that will regulate my nervous system down to I got in essential oils, I got into the pelvic floor, I got into singing karaoke and stimulating my vagus nerve, like whatever can calm me down so I can heal in a calmer environment. Now I
Hmm.
don't leave my house without meditating every day, minimum 40 minutes.
Got it. Okay, so that was a lot to unpack there. So you've been through a
Yeah.
lot.
And there's a lot in
However,
there
yeah,
of
yeah.
many years of my run-ins with the medical institutions of
Hmm.
meds. Like I don't even take a Tylenol now for
Hmm.
since my late 20s. So, and I'm in my early 50s. So almost 25, 30 years. I don't take anything, nothing, nothing, nothing. But I was a product of taking everything. They put me on tetracycline for 6 years. Like that's insane when I repeat that. When I was 13 for my skin, it never even helped. It never cleared up my skin. So you'd be like, why did you keep taking it? You do what the doctor says. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. Then they gave me birth control for my hormones. I was on Paxil for bad periods. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was the purple pill was the first commercial that came out back in the late 90s, I think, when the commercials started coming out. And I started to wake up. I was like, wait, I went to the doctor and I always had throat issues. I was a school teacher. And he said, take Nexium. He didn't call it the purple pill and see me in 6 months. And I thought, the guy didn't even look at me. I didn't even, so
Hmm.
I got so upset. I started researching and I read a book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. It changed my whole life. And that was the real kicker for my health, that
Hmm.
book, which would still
Gotcha.
apply now. I read it 25 years ago. And it just talked about the FDA and the FTC and the corruption of the food and what's in our food and eat the food and need the drug. And I was like, whoa, publicly
Hmm.
traded food, don't eat it. And I just started to wake up and
Hmm.
care about what I put in my mind, body, and soul all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why reading books is so important. It offers so many different perspectives from so many different people who've experienced different things. So one
So
thing
lucky.
from,
Such a
yeah,
blessing.
yeah, right. So one thing that really stood out to me from what you were just saying, telling me your story, was there seemed to be some sort of a shift, right? You mentioned in the beginning when, um, at first, when you took up fitness, it was mainly for body composition purposes. You wanted to look good. You wanted to out exercise a bad diet, exactly. And then there was this accident where a serious motorcycle accident where you were forced to take a step back and focus a little bit more on recovery, more natural recovery methods is what you're telling me the approach you wanted to take, and it seemed like it worked pretty well for you. Um, but talk to me a
Well,
little bit more about that.
self-reliance is
Hmm.
such a big thing I teach. And if I
Hmm.
would have chose the other route, that's the one thing you don't have. You lose complete self-reliance when you have to ask others what to do for yourself and you don't find out and uncover it for yourself. So,
Hmm.
and I love self-reliance. I love knowing that if I get in pain, I can get out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it seemed like
Yeah,
that accident kind of helped you build that self reliance,
of
right?
course. I would have
Yeah.
never had it
I mean,
without it.
hmm yeah, yeah, exactly. So tell me about the business a little bit. So you opened your gym in 1998. That's a long time for a gym, to be around and to be thriving like that. So, um, where was that? How long after your accident did you decide to open the gym and
Well, I opened the
start
gym
working?
before.
You opened the gym before.
Oh,
Okay.
way before
All right. You mentioned.
98. My accident was
Okay.
2012.
Okay. I got
Yeah.
it. I got it. Okay. Gotcha. So, how did that impact your ability to run the gym and working with clients? Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Exactly. So I was my background is I was a school teacher in prisons and jails and lockdowns, and I favored the problem children. They were always my favorite because I was good at it. And if you're good at something and other people aren't, you're like, oh, I got something here. So I love those children, hence why I got my master's in behavior. And my secret sauce was I would let the kids fight one on one, no one jump in, and people would say, "How does this white girl?" I was an all black school. I was the
Interesting.
only white girl.
Okay.
Huh?
Hmm. Oh, I was just saying that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead,
I had
continue. Yeah,
reverse
yeah.
discrimination, which I didn't really
Mm.
care because I was all about the kids. So they'd say, "How does this little white girl get these kids in order?" Like I was the last one they would think would have the kids in order, and I'd say, "I let them fight," and they'd say, "Like what? A one on one, no one jump in." I would move the chairs and facilitate their fighting because bullying, and then the fighting stops when you allow them to fight and you say no one else can jump in. Also, when you like feed into them, if you, I don't say no to things like this is how it's going to work. Here's the rules. I'll do this. You do this. Everything's like there's how we get things to work, not like no you can't, no you can't. So I wasn't that kind of a teacher. And then I would teach fitness after school because teachers didn't get paid well. And remember, I was last. I didn't want to be last, and I was living in the gym. Living my life
Hmm.
was the gym. My whole social life, gym. And then teaching didn't make such good money. And I met my ex-husband was an English, he was from England, and he was going to do an English pub, a bowling alley, or a boxing gym. I had no clue what boxing was, even though I was teaching it in the schools. That's why my favorite, I love God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Because boxing is such a blessing. It's my whole life. And I said, oh, a gym. Open a gym. I heard I'm in fitness. I was teaching at Olympia where I explained Beto and all for years, all through high school, all through college, open a gym. And then there went my life, right? Getting punched in the face. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. I probably would have never
Sure.
gone back if I knew I didn't own the gym. But I started and I got thrown into the fighting. And I was, remember that last kid that was like wussy. And all of a sudden I'm in a boxing gym fighting, which was amazing because when you have to keep getting hit in the face, you have to deal with it. Like when life punches you in the face, what are you going to do about it? And then we opened a bunch of gyms. We had four. And in 2007, we got divorced and he got all the gyms. And I went and led for something
Oh,
called
wow.
Landmark Education. Maybe you know what that
Okay.
is.
Mm.
No.
Nope.
And it's a transformational program. I really, gyms, whatever I do, it's really to just transform lives, period, exponentially. I love to make people proud of themselves and I show people how great they are and they always feel good. And it's just my special sauce and I love to do it. And whatever I do, I'm doing that. And he got all the gyms because I only wanted one. It was all or none. And then it was the horrible crash, 2007-8. So it was
Hmm.
that time. It was a
Okay.
mess. And I got my South Beach gym back. And my best friend was like, you could be Landmark Forum leader, gym owner. And I was like, you're right. Because I almost didn't take it back, but it was my baby. And then I ran the gym, like I ran the Landmark Forum, which is everyone gets transformed. Like everybody gets their goals met. So I'm white on rice with it. So when people in the economy and COVID and whatever and the world's falling down, my gym's still doing well because people, love community. Community you're not going to get from AI and you're not going to get in a pandemic, and people want that. So you mentioned the accident. How did I deal with that? That's why I probably would have gotten the surgery if it wasn't for my gym being on the second floor, because I just believed them. I couldn't move. I was in this brace that like stabilized my back plus a neck brace. And I would have gotten the surgery. That's what they said. I needed it immediately. So, but I was like, how am I going to get up the stairs? It's on the second floor, no elevator. And I was like, no work for 6 months. I'm going to be, you start to think disability. How am I going to handle this? Who's going to, your whole world and your thoughts come crashing down. And then and you know that you don't heal in that state. So you got to calm down, but you can't calm down. And then you're so much in pain. And it went on for so long. But that's when I was like, I can't get this surgery. I got to build a team of advisors that's not a surgeon. And then that's where I built my team. I mean, I had a pelvic floor specialist, chiropractic, Pilates. I did so many Pilates certifications and then did a shit ton of Pilates and gradually healed my back through everything I do. I still do it. I run around like crazy. I do this thing called Legree, which is like a stand-up Pilates. So I do that like 5 or 6 times a week and then run to my boxing. But I can. I'm in health and wellness. So I got to be it and teach it. And so I do that. But so you asked me, how was it, being in the gym and then having this accident? Sucked. It's like, how do you wrap people's hands and tell people how to box and you can't do it? I would cry. I would wrap people's hands and have to go in the bathroom and cry. And I was like, I need a new job. I can't sell boxing and be in this much pain. It was I'll have to say it was so horrible that I made a mission. I should write a book on it, but I would ask each athlete that was retired how they handled being retired from their sport and what their relation was to the sport still, like Lennox Lewis, because they all trained and frequented in my gym. So Chris Botch, I asked Lennox Lewis, and I would ask like Tommy Hearns, I would ask these, like, how do you deal with not having your sport in your life anymore? They were all a lot more normal than me about it. They were all like, oh, it's fine. Like life goes on. They were all more chill. And me, I was like so tragic for me in my head. I was like, this is horrible. All I want to do is box. I was like on a mission to just be able to box again. So I didn't handle it so well. And now I get to box again. It's not as good as I used to. And I won't get punched in the head because of the vertigo. But I love meditation. I'm so glad I found meditation, and I wouldn't have found meditation without it. I'm just getting to a point 13 years later where I'm almost grateful for the accident. Only because of meditation, I learned to be grateful for everything, right? Because it's like something good comes out of it. And I know so much good came out of it. It's just, I'm a little brat. I'm the baby child of 3, and I can't get my way, right? I can't box the way I want. I can't kickbox the way I want. So it's a practice of surrender, learning to surrender and to let go and all of that. It's a constant work of like me wanting to box the way I used to and not being able to, and then being grateful for the meditation and the breath work and the recovery that's come into my life. Because
definitely. Right. But you used your adversity to your benefit. So, I mean, you found a way to flip it eventually. It sounds like, yeah, it really, really sucked, but you started using certain methods, right? So I want to talk about this NLP you mentioned before, right? So for the listeners, NLP is something, correct me if I'm wrong, neuro-linguistic programming, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I just heard about this maybe a couple weeks ago. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he had a NLP practitioner on. I think his last name was Epstein, I think. Oh. But anyway, they were talking about
maybe
that.
I could go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
My master practitioner.
Reach out to him, see what he says.
Richard Bandler.
Yeah. Okay.
So Richard Bandler created it with John Grinder.
Okay.
Grinder.
Okay, so I know very little. All right, even after listening to, I maybe listened to half the episode so far, but talk to me a little bit more about that. Did you know that during your accident recovery? Did you use it at all to help your own mentality and getting out of that out of that funk and recovery, or did you learn it a little bit later on?
It's so funny because I learned so much and then I help others with it, right? And then sometimes you're like, hello, help yourself with it, me first. So it's like, how much do you
Right?
do? It's like, and then you don't do it. So then it's like, what is it?
Mm,
Tony Robbins?
yes.
So everything he does, all of those interactions he does with people is all NLP. It's all NLP. When he like switches it really fast, he changes out the pictures, he changes what they're thinking, he flips it all out. It's all neuro-linguistic programming. So did I do it? Do I do it? Right? There's how many names can you have for something? So my master's was behavior modification. So which is changing behavior. It's all we did. And then how do you change behavior, right? We have pictures, we have sounds, we have thoughts, we have triggers, we have an antecedent. Something happens and then something happens after that. So it's all about finding the triggers and changing them out. So NLP is doing what the definition of NLP is following what successful people do. Success leaves clues. So how did they do it? I want to do it how they do it. So they reverse engineer what successful people do. So, but it's also a languaging, which for me, language is everything because nothing exists without language. And you, instead of saying like, oh, I don't want that, you say, I do want this, right? You say what you do not want, not what you don't want. So it's all of bringing you closer to what you want as opposed to further away. And it's so like me, you don't just get to study it and practice it. It's like learning David Copperfield
Hmm.
magic. So you had to keep practicing it. So I did my practitioner license 3 times and I did my master pack twice, two of which were with Richard Bandler. And I study. So when I did it again this last time, I was like, you're not doing this course again without getting this information. There's no way I'm going to sit through this. So for 60 days, I ran around and I told everybody, whatever habit you want to kick, I'll do it for you free in like 10 minutes, like kick your habit. So usually they tell you don't do it on narcotics and drugs and alcohol, but I didn't care because I was doing it free. So I tried it on everything. And everyone that came to me, most of them were vape people. They were like, I want to quit vape. I am 10 for 10. Like everybody that I got to try to quit the vape, all. I had a guy double fisting the vape, like wouldn't let go of one. He lets go of one. He has another one. And like 10, 15 minutes walks out of my office and gone. Never did it again. Never lifts it up again. So I get people to quit soda, quit their favorite chocolate habit or whatever that gateway drug is for them that gets them into the undesirable behaviors. I got a girl to stop being bulimic, another little 13-year-old. I have a kids charity. So I got her to stop having she had these panic attacks from
Hmm.
a boy raped her, which is
Oh,
valid reason. It doesn't mean
yes.
it's working to have the panic attack. So I got rid of those. So the NLP is I change out the pictures. Our subconscious mind, right? Knowing doesn't make a difference. So then how do you
Hmm.
get into the knowing under the knowing that will make a difference? And
Hmm.
it's in the
Yeah,
subconscious mind.
right,
So it's
exactly.
not your
But you
subconscious, it's your
mentioned,
conscious.
yeah, exactly. Okay. And you mentioned asking questions. So um, I would imagine something like this involves asking difficult questions, questions that people necessarily don't really want to ask themselves to get to the root cause of whatever is behind their behavior that is not having a positive impact on their lives.
I think anyone that knows me would sum me up in a nutshell and be like, Jolie says some crazy stuff. So, but that is my skill and it's what I worked on. And enrollment and registration, whether you're talking about sales or life, there's a window of registration. So there's that window where I can say something and make an impact. And that's my studying, that's my training. So, yes, I ask the
Hmm.
craziest questions and rapid
Hmm.
and fast, and I move people quick because I just need
Hmm.
the answer. I don't need the fluff. I don't want to give you therapy. It's funny, one of my best friends is a therapist, and she was like, I don't know if the coaching really like sticks. It seems like rah, 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 and it's all like cool, but it doesn't really get to the deeper issue. So I was like, all right, well, try me. Let me try and get rid of something that you've been battling for a while. So, and I'm so confident with the skills I use that I'm like, I'll try anything. I'll just hand it over. So she had like this money issue and her mindset around money. And, there's a lot of reframing in NLP where you flip someone's mind upside down because you reframe it in a way. And the better you get at it, the better you get at flipping people's minds around. So in the end, I totally flipped her up. She called me the next day and she was like, I really like the constraints that I had around money are gone. And I said, exactly. I don't want to talk about the past. I don't want to know. Like you go to a therapist and I don't want to say there's no value in it, but I'd love to see the people that truly have transformations from going to the therapist because I don't want to talk and talk and talk about it. I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it for you. I don't want it to be a trigger. I don't want it to exist, and I want to move forward. I got to get rid of the baggage. So sometimes, like the girl that was bulimic, that was a big risk for me. I mean, sure, go to the hospital. They'll keep you there for 6 months. So I was really, let me try it out. So she did have a relapse and she did it again because there was baggage underneath there. But that's okay because then we addressed the baggage underneath there and there were conversations she needed to have with people to clear out that her undeservingness on why she tortured herself like that. And then when she had those conversations and cleared it out, she came back and we did a session again so it could be more of a surface behavior. And now she doesn't do it anymore. So sometimes it takes a little bit more work. I'm just confident with my other tools in the box. I always say I'm an MMA fighter in life as opposed to boxing because there's other tools you whip out for different people, different things. So that's why I hate saying, oh, life coach, because so many people are like, oh, I'm a life coach, and it's like, what? You got to sharpen your best tools and you got to have a lot of tools so you can use different things on people at different times because you got to get it to work. So you got to do whatever it takes to work. So I might try this technique. It doesn't work. Then I try this technique. It might work. You got to try different things to get it to work. So, and it is through the questioning. So the best thing to be in life is an amazing questioner. That's my book, right? 1,000 questions to ask yourself. It's like, I'll ask you the best questions and then you'll get better answers. The best questions give way to the best answers.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit more. So say you have somebody, practical application, right? Somebody who's struggling with maintaining a consistent routine, just getting to the gym and doing what they have to do to live a healthy lifestyle. What are maybe a few of those questions they can ask themselves to start progressing forward?
Okay. Well, first I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want it? And then they'd answer that. And I'd say, what else in the past have you wanted on a scale of 1 to 10 with that number and have gotten it? Like I got to relate them to something else they've gotten. I'd say, have you ever had a fitness regime? Has this ever happened for you in your life? Have you ever been into fitness? Have you ever been in shape? When was the last time you were in shape? So I got to get the parameters of if it's ever happened before. Because if they say, no, I've never been in shape in my life and they're 35, I got to say, why now? How now? What are you going to do differently? What were you doing then that you're not going to do now? Let me hear your routine, right? I got to break it down because our habits define what's going to happen for the outcome. So I got to hear what they're doing now. What are you currently doing now? Okay, what are we going to take out and what are we going to put in? And accountability is everything, right? They need an accountability partner. But I get them to get clear on if it can really happen. Has it ever happened? How willing are they to commit? And then we create through language ranges that set them up for success. Because I own a gym, right? So I hear the most bullshit out of any career in the world. Like people are like, I'm coming every day. I'm going to get fit. It was just a video I posted the other day. People, movement is medicine. And when we're out of a gym, right, that's the best time to sell someone a membership. They're all like hot and excited. Then they cool down and they're over it. That's why you got to move again, move your body. So many people say, oh, you're a fitness trainer? No, I'm not a trainer, but I want you to get moving so now I can talk to you. So a lot of times I'll say, go run around the block and call me back because I just need them to move a little bit. I want to know, I want them to set up languaging that keeps them successful, not saying I'm coming every day. Well, what happens if you don't? What happens if you miss a day? What's going to happen? Oh, well, that's not going to happen. Well, it is going to happen. So what happens if it happens? And then I like to tell people, like, don't go under 2. You don't need to go over 5. So they set themselves up for success because success is what creates motivation. And people wait for motivation and motivation ain't ever coming. It doesn't come. Maybe when you're 4 o'clock in the morning and you got to finish your sleep. So you're like, forget it. It's not happening.
Right. Yeah, so you got to set realistic expectations.
Right? That was hard. You wrote a book, right?
I'm sorry. Yes,
I
did. Yeah,
joke, right?
Yeah. It's right here, actually. Awareness before action. There you go. Principles. It's all about principles, people. So not rigid methods.
I like it. I like awareness before action. Exactly. Well, when that comes, I'm sure you tied in your breath work because the awareness comes through good breathing.
Yes. Yeah, that is chapter 4, recovery. So yeah, there's a little bit of breath work in there. I have a recovery
chapter.
Do you? Awesome. Yeah, let's see your book.
So this is the first one. It's actually
Hmm.
called Life According to the Rules of Boxing. It's 101 rules to being the champion of your life. So everyone says, oh, I'm ADD. Oh, I don't read. I read Dan Brule, Breathe, whatever. You got to read 500 pages to get 5 minutes of juice. And I was the
Uh-huh.
kid that wanted the cliff notes. I don't want to read all that. I don't have time to read. I don't want to read it. Just give me the juice and let me move on. I'm like a learner. So mine is one a day read, open to any page, most wisdom per word. It's a lot of like 1-2 punch lines where you got to like, whoa, let me think about that all day. So it's a lot to think about and very little to read. So it's a one a day
Hmm.
read. Like I just opened to remember where you came from, and it doesn't have to be where you're going. And then there's a famous boxer quote. So the boxer quotes are so motivating. This one's from Mayweather. When people, I need glasses.
Hmm.
Says, when people see what I have now, they have no idea where I came from and how I didn't have anything growing up. And then there's my breakdown. So you could read the rule. I always say put it on your coffee table. Put, and Mike Tyson said, "No one better to have in your corner than me." He wrote the whole back.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and it's a one a day read, but I wrote it during COVID. See, I was a school teacher, so I'm going back to my roots of hating the curriculum, hating public school education, wasting children's time. For me, school is such a waste of time, and I get upset that their time is being wasted. So they get taught that it's okay to waste time and your time doesn't matter. So during COVID, parents didn't know what to do with their kids, and I wrote these as a curriculum. For me, all you need is emotional intelligence. If you could get through your day and you could get through anything and you could figure anything out, then you don't need to learn algebra and science and everything they're teaching in school. You don't need any of it. ChatGPT is way smarter for all of that. You don't need that. It's better to
Hmm.
know how to navigate and know how to
Yes.
self-regulate and get
Yes,
through your
exactly.
day and deal with whatever comes your way, like a boxer, right? A boxer doesn't know who they're getting in the ring with, but they prepare for whatever they get in the ring with. So it's all
Hmm.
about preparation. Boxing is everything for me. It's the rules of boxing. It's what creates heroes. So my book is all about how to be the hero of your own life. It's the hero's journey, and it's the ingredients that a boxer has of being a champion and the lonely
Hmm.
world it is at the top. And then the second book, because it's a curriculum, is, to me, this is so good for families to do with their teens and their kids. It's 1,000 questions. So every rule has about 10 questions to ask yourself to be able to possess
Oh,
those
there you
traits.
go. Okay.
So like this one's never turn your back. I ended up on. So like the first, and then it has a quote from me. The second book has my quote. And then it says, like, is there any area or person in your life that you're turning your back on and avoiding that needs to be dealt with and you just haven't yet? Explain the situation. Who was it, and
Mm.
what will it take for you to confront it? What transpired to have you turn your back? Is it working out the way you want? How would you like it to work out? What needs to happen for it to work out the way you want? So it's a bunch of questions that have you dig deep on
Yes.
uncovering and
Yeah.
discovering how to get that skill that will turn you into a champion in your life.
Yeah, deep, difficult questions for sure. And that's why, yeah, that great. Those look awesome. So, yeah, there are those two books, and I'll link those in the show notes so
Yeah, thank you.
people can check
I
them out
love
too. Yeah.
teaching, so I'm
Hmm.
really trying to get them in
Yeah.
schools and going back to my roots of educating and disrupting
Hmm.
education and letting them know they don't it really needs to be dismantled completely. We're wasting their time. And for me, kids need to get to work. It's funny how they were like child labor and child labor. We need child labor because adults need to take care of themselves. So they need to be done working so we can work on self care. And kids have the energy and the ambition and they want to work. Ask any kid, they're like dying for a job. Give them what they want, let them work. Kids are smart, they can be held accountable. So I'm very, my
We're
staff
talking high
say,
school age kids.
11 when you start your
Hmm.
your lemonade stand, like let them
Okay.
know. Like so many people in my generation, they'll say, oh yeah, I was working at 12, I was working at 13. Yeah, start making money. I went to the Russell Brunson event, the ClickFunnels, and he has you know what that is?
No,
He
do not.
created ClickFunnels. The guy who created the
Mhm.
ClickFunnels, the all the marketing that happens behind, like when you
Oh,
click
yeah,
and you get.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
yep.
Russell Brunson
Hmm.
made billions of dollars off creating like a potato gun, and then he like marketed it and showed you how you can make money marketing. Well, he has these big events called ClickFunnel events, and he has a 2 comma club award. People who make $1 million from using his software. There were like 712-year-olds that got up for the Comma Club award, the 2 comma club, $1 million. You're like, oh my God, these kids are making millions of dollars at 12, selling their toys, selling their doing stuff. Or I say you don't go through a bridge at 18 and all of a sudden figure it out. You have to set it up from a young age and teach them how to be responsible and
Hmm.
ambitious and hungry
Hmm.
and have grit
Hmm.
and perseverance and all the quotes, all the rules in my book from a young age, very young.
Yeah, but
Eight, I
also
mean, you
like
take my
solving
niece,
their own problems too. So, hmm
100%. We
hmm
enable them to suck. Yeah. And really, we want to get them, moving, working. They're smart. So my staff always says I think flowers grow out of people's ass, and I do. I see the beauty in everyone. I love everybody. I'm a total lover of everything. And sometimes it backfires. So yes, of course, it's backfired for me in my life. And I let them know, you know what? The people rise to the occasion. When you see people greater than they are, or maybe other people think they are, they end up showing up great. So my one staff will be like, people are always better in front of you. So I always say, good, I'm glad. I want people to show me their best. I want that. He's like, yeah, but that's not how they are. They're only like that in front of you. I'm like, cool. Well, maybe if 50 me's get in front of them, they can like start building the habit of being so great. It's like, I want them to be, we show our side to, in Landmark, in the communication, it says, I create you, creating me, creating you. So anytime a staff member of mine says, oh, they're so nice, I go, no, 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 you are nice. You create it. Because if someone walks in and you're like, what? Then they're going to be an asshole. It's your job to have people show up great. And you are the one that generates it. So if people are, oh, that guy's an asshole, that guy's an asshole, maybe you should like look in the mirror and maybe you're the asshole today. It's really taking, that's my tattoo, 100 100. It's taking responsibility that everywhere you go, there you are, and everything that shows up for yourself in your life is you. It's you everywhere. Nothing is anything. It's all your perceptions, your reality, everything you're putting out there on someone else.
hmm Yeah, and I like that quote. Wherever you go, there you are, because it
That's my
really,
rule, the second rule in my book.
yeah.
Rule
Okay.
number 2.
Yeah, well, it helps people with mindfulness. So a lot of mental suffering and like people holding themselves back, oftentimes they're thinking about the past or the future rather than just being there where they are, focusing on what they need to focus on to move themselves forward, right?
All the limiting beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
If it's a
definitely.
limiting belief, it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
all
So
people are thinking about. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk about this. We touched on it briefly earlier, but this idea of motivation, right? How
Where will you go? There you
motivation.
are.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Motivation. Motivation
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. So it's how it's fleeting, right? It comes and it goes. You can motivate yourself by watching a 30-second video of, I don't know, a video or, something that was put on YouTube or whatever, versus self-discipline. Let's kind of talk about that a little bit, because motivation isn't always going to be there.
Discipline is doing what you love like you hate it. I mean, doing what you hate like you love it. And I always say doing it anyway. It doesn't matter if you love it. So I write that in my book because that's one of his quotes. And I agree doing what you hate like you love it, but you don't have to love it. Just do it. It's like, you don't have to love I don't love my push-ups while I'm doing them, but I just do it
Hmm.
because like the alternative is not. I don't have back doors, excuses. The key is cultivating an inner self-talk that's so strong, like a strong coach on yourself, that's like not mean but rough, that's like shut the fuck up and do it now. It like has you get up. Like I get whiny in my 100 push-ups. I'm like and then there's a moment where I'm like, Julie, just shut up. And I like, shut up, and then you do it. And then I'm like, see, I told myself to shut up and I did it. And you just have to, whatever the shortest distance between 2 points to get there and do it, you do it. But then you said like, oh, this motivation. For me, like motivation is never present when you need it, right? So it's like
Hmm.
people rely on it. I don't know who set the trend in the world that says, oh, I'm going to come when I'm motivated. It's like, that's never happening. So your word is that's the work of it. Landmark is all about integrity, honoring your word, doing what you said you would do by when you would do it by, and nothing exists without language. So that's why I say to people, back to what you said of their commitments and how do you get someone to commit when they're not wanting to do it, or they haven't done it, right? And I start to break down how important their word is. So then it depends where I go with it, but I might say, what area of your life is working? That scenario you asked me. I
Hmm.
said, where is an area in your life that's working and you love it and it's such a great area? And they'd tell me, my relationship. And I'd say, oh, great. Well, what's working about it? And they'd start to tell me, but really I'm having them uncover that everything they say is they're doing. It's in alignment with what they're saying. And then the
Hmm.
areas that aren't working, I want them to see that they're saying they're going to do things and they don't do it. Well, why has your workouts not been working? Well, I get to Monday and I say I'm going to do it and I just don't go Monday, and then Tuesday I get busy and I start to hear all that crap in the morass of the, and then I say, well, they're not honoring their words. So that's when I said create things and ranges that have you successful, because it's your word. And
Hmm.
people need to develop a aligned glue relationship to their word. My staff know if I say it, hell over high water, it's going to happen.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I communicate down to, like, if I told you, hey, I'm going to go to the gym later, I would call you if I didn't and be like, I know I said I would go to the gym, but I'm not going to the gym. Like, down to that stupid. But that's how much your word matters, and it amplifies when you share it. So you want to make sure that you seal it and you cover it, and you are the boss of you, and you protect your integrity wherever it's out. Because integrity is
Hmm.
always going out, and you always want to put it back in. People who
Hmm.
are successful, the only difference is they have more integrity. They have a higher relationship to their word. They said they were going to
Hmm.
do it, and then they do it. So the discipline
Right.
is your word. It's doing what you
Hmm.
said you would do. I'm going to go home and do
Right.
laundry. Oh, forget it. I'm tired. Well, those people have their laundry built up. It's like you got to do what you say you were going to do,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
keep an empowering context.
Yeah, definitely. And a vast majority of the time, you're going to have to do it when you're not feeling up to it. So,
All the
and
time.
it's just that's where one of the things I talk about in my book is making fitness, health, eating well, getting a good amount of sleep, making all that stuff a part of your identity. It doesn't have to be all of your identity. Like it's most of my identity as a trainer
All
for a long
mine.
time, right? I mean, it's what I do, that's why I'm doing this podcast, right? So it's near the very, very top, if not the top of my priority list. It is a vast majority of my identity. But for a lot of people, it isn't. And that's okay. And it doesn't have to be, but it has to be floating somewhere up near the surface rather than, the
It
depths
definitely has
of
to be at the
wherever.
top if you're going to do it, because it's no joke of a
Hmm.
job.
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself, if it did come with a manual, we know it would be really fat like the Bible. It's
Hmm.
no joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And I tell a
Yeah.
lot of people, well, same thing you were talking about before. Draw on another part of your life, another aspect of your life that you've been successful at. So I ask people like, okay, well, you have a great job, right? Did you work hard to do that? You have the car you wanted. Did you work hard to do that? You have family, kids. Do you work hard for them? Great. That's awesome. Why do you think that you don't need to work hard for your own health and fitness too? What makes that any different? And the
Well,
truth
and then
is,
you got to clarify, do they really want it?
hmm
But you always want
yeah,
to get clear, is, do you really want it? Like Mel Robbins,
yeah,
she always make jokes that she wanted a six pack, but then when she found out
hmm
what it took to get one, she was like, forget it. So it's like getting clear what it takes to get to where they want, and are they willing to do the work to get there?
right. It's ready, willing, and able. You got to
Yeah.
ask yourself those questions. Are you ready? Great. Are you willing? Cool. Are you able to do it? All right. No injury. Okay. But you have to ask yourself those three questions as well. And
And
that
it's
ties
working the
directly
muscle, right?
into,
Joe Dispenza
yeah.
always says
Hmm.
the hardest thing about change is making a different choice today than you made the day before. So it's like, oh, I'm not going to eat a cookie anymore. And then someone tomorrow goes, oh, you want a cookie? And I go, okay, right? Oh, shit, I ate the cookie, right? I said I wasn't going to eat the cookies anymore. And I just ate the cookie, but it was there and they were in front of me, and I'm not going to eat them anymore, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how
Okay.
do you
Well,
work
so
that
what?
muscle
Yeah.
of saying,
Hmm.
no, I
Yeah.
don't want the cookie?
Yeah, or you ate the cookie. All right. Well, are you going to beat yourself up about it and
Yeah.
quit?
Yeah.
The rest of your goals for
Yeah.
nutrition and health. So that's the thing about giving yourself grace in those
Yeah.
times. Like you're not going to be perfect. I mean,
Uh-huh.
look at the society we live in. It's designed to eat that stuff all the time. So if you eat it occasionally, all right, fine. Once or twice, it's not going to make that big a deal. All right. So have some grace for yourself and tell yourself, okay, it's okay. I messed up this time.
It depends
Cool.
who
My
you're
next
dealing
three
with.
meals,
It
yeah,
depends who you're
exactly.
dealing with, though.
Hmm.
Some people
Yeah.
need no grace. I have the guy that quit the vape. He
Hmm.
was in my coaching group, and he left the other day, and I was testing him on when he was finishing his bachelor's, and he was like, "Yeah, well, I didn't do it today, but I was like, he gave himself too much grace. He was like, yeah, but tomorrow. I go, no, 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 no. It's not happening. You're one day turning into the next one. So, like, if people are, someone like me needs to give myself grace because I would be like, why did you eat that? Right. So, that would be a conversation to have with me because I'm so hard on myself. But someone that like keeps giving themselves an outdoor and a back door, it's like, no, no, no. You need to like,
Hmm.
30 days, don't touch a thing, immersion. Then we can gradually think about once you stuck to the habit and you got into it to give yourself some grace, but you are giving yourself too
Yeah.
much grace.
Right, right, right. That's where the idea of a some sort of challenge or 30, 60-day challenge, whatever, might be beneficial, right? To
Yeah,
just, all right, be strict with yourself for this amount of time, see what it feels like to actually feel good, to be
exactly.
energized every day, to look the way you want, and all that stuff. Like,
Or an
if you
elimination
never know,
diet. Like, okay, I'm not going to
right?
have any soda. Like, it depends how far off they are. I get jealous of the people who are like, I cut out soda and lost 50 pounds. I'm like, oh my God, okay. It's like, I haven't
Hmm.
had soda since I'm like 8. But it's like an elimination diet, or what can we get rid of, or what's the biggest trigger, or right? We got to really hone in and pinpoint what's wreaking the havoc and what the trigger is that gets them on the bender.
Hmm.
What
Right.
that gateway drug is. We all have that like gateway first thing. And really, if you buy it, you're going to eat it. So it's like it starts in the grocery
Yeah,
store.
your chances of eating it are way, way higher if it's in your house. So for sure.
It's going to be
Yeah.
eaten. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, going back to it,
So,
like
and
if
that's
you
where the
never
NLP comes
know,
in, right? So
yeah,
you asked me if I do it to
yeah,
myself. Actually, I did do it to myself. I do it not. I mean, how do I be a badass in my own life? So I guess I do it, right? Because I love the Whole Foods bakery cookies, and if I go to the left first, it's like my trigger of like, oh, I'll just get a few chocolate covered pretzels. It's just a few in my house. But then when they're in my house, I'm like, they can't stay in my house. I gotta finish them, otherwise they're still gonna be in my house. So I have that whole nightmare trickle down terrible thing. So I change it out, right? I before I go in the grocery store, I go, okay, I see the vegetables. I start to see the right side of the grocery store, and I see myself going to the right side. That way when I go to the left, I'm like, no, 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 you weren't going there. You're going there. And now I go to the right. So I don't go to the cookies. Will it ever happen again? I'm sure because they're so good. Will I ever go? But I haven't been going because I do that NLP on myself where it's like I already
mm-hmm,
see myself going in the direction to the right where the other one's not an option.
mm-hmm. Okay, so we talked a little bit about so say somebody does have that healthy lifestyle developed, they're going to the gym, like you said, 2 to 5 times a week, whatever it might be, they're eating well, they've established that routine for themselves. There's also a risk of going a little bit too hard, right? Which is yeah, yeah, me as well. So I gotta pull the reins back on myself quite a bit. Let's talk about recovery a little bit. Why is that so important? Why do we need to get away from the mentality of I'm gonna sleep when I'm
More David
dead. I'm gonna yeah,
Goggins. More.
yeah. Oh, who doesn't love a good David Goggins? Yeah.
Not me. I'm always like, trust me if you like David Goggins. He is in pain. He is
Hmm.
like, that guy needs to take
Yeah.
his
Well, did you
rest of
see
his
the
life to
200
recover.
mile race he just did recently? So that is with no
Watch
need,
him
pretty
because it
much.
feeds
Yeah.
into my own psyche. I'm already
Uh huh.
crazy. I'm very like
Yeah.
insane energy, more, more. And I have to learn what you're just talking about is like
Hmm.
my mission in life is how to surrender more and how to relax more. And then how do
Yes.
I have a line in my book. I say, life is about intentionality and surrender, and you play with the two like a slinky. It's like, how do you know when to fold them and when to hold them and when to push forward? And, I love my aura ring for that because the harder I work out, the lower my scores are.
Hmm.
And I don't like low scores. I am a results producer. I love gamifying my scores. I love to see A pluses and 100%s, and I get inspired and motivated by those things. There's that word. But I notice when I do just my Legree, just the days of my Pilates, my scores are way higher. And I'm like, okay, so it wasn't so bad that I just did that workout. Because for me, if I didn't work out like 3 or 4 times, it's like I didn't do enough, and I love it. I fiend for it, which I'm sure you do. Like the energy, and then someone's like, "Oh, I have." So in life, I have JOMO. Like I love missing out, joy of missing out. Like you go to a party, I'm in heaven that I get to stay home and prep my vegetables while you're partying. It's like fun for me because I feel like I'm the little inner badass. But I have major FOMO when people are working out and I'm not. It's like a crazy thing.
Mm.
Like God forbid I miss a workout. So my accident taught me. Thank God for my accident. I probably would have had like major acid in my body from overtraining because I overtrained. I used to do, so we had CrossFit in my gym for many years, and I would do workout after workout, and I'd have to be RX, and it's so stupid because you're damaging your body. And I listened to Peter Attia.
Peter Tia, yeah.
Yeah, I love him. And he said, they asked him, like, what would you tell your younger self or something, and his biggest regret, and that he didn't go so hard when he was younger. And I was like, oh my God, I hate when people say that. And my fear, like,
Mm,
I'll see these like really overweight older people, and they're like, I was a runner when I was your age. I'm thinking, like, oh my God, we want to go long. The goal is the long term fit and
right.
healthy.
Yeah.
So, my injury, to be honest, I probably wouldn't choose to not work out insane if it wasn't for my injury. So I know that 2 days a week I do physical therapy, 2 days a week I go to the chiropractor. I'm constantly doing recovery stuff. So things are taking up my time that are recovery. But I know I need to recover more, and you can never recover enough probably for a personality like mine. Um, and it's the bob and weave of my life.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like stick and move
Yeah.
and bob and weave, and yeah, life is not going
Yeah.
to be
But
fun for me if I have to like sit still at 70.
yeah. Yeah. Well, a big goal for me is to help people to get to that point, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever it might be, and still have that active lifestyle and not have to get to that point where they have such a serious injury where they need a surgery, right? And then they're trying to bounce back from that. And a lot of that comes down to mobilizing, stretching, self myofascial release, a lot of these other recovery methods, breath work,
Look at
right,
my
that we were
room.
talking
Look
about
at that. You
briefly
see all
before
that?
this.
All
Yeah,
my
there's the
tools,
therapy
all those
ball,
books.
right? Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and the fact of the matter is that that stuff, all right, it's boring. It's boring compared to working out and pushing yourself hard and all that. And it also doesn't feel that great, especially if you're doing self myofascial release effectively. Yeah, you have to deal with a little bit of discomfort, but you
A
deal with
lot.
less of
That's
it the
why
more
I never stretch, and
consistently.
I have no integrity in
Yeah,
stretching. It hurts.
yeah, yeah. And doing that stuff on a regular basis is how you keep yourself from having such a severe injury. All right, unless okay, we get into a motorcycle crash. Yeah, that's that's life. It happens sometimes, and we need to get ourselves back from it. But aside from that, preventable injuries, joint injuries, that kind of stuff, that can all be prevented, at least minimized, by stretching regularly every day and making
You know,
sure
I
that your
always
muscle
make the example.
imbalances are corrected and that sort of
People have
stuff.
so much. It's like, and then where do they start, right? And then there's so much to deal with, and then they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't bother. But it's the difference, because I was an early childhood development teacher, phonics versus whole language. So people are like, what do I do first, right? And it's like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So we got to have you start somewhere, yet you have to do everything. Because like you're saying, like with the recovery, like you can't eat shitty. For me, the cleaner I eat, the less pain I have. So I could do all the recovery. You could teach someone to do all the recovery in the world, but if they're eating Burger King and
Hmm.
McDonald's, they're not going to
Oh,
get rid of their
sure.
pain and
Yeah.
inflammation. So it's
Yeah.
everything.
Definitely. Hmm.
Did you have
Yeah.
an
And
injury or an accident that got you into this?
I've had a lot of chronic injuries. I was a endurance athlete for a long time. I did Ironman triathlons, a lot of shorter distance ones. Yeah, I'd done a couple
Shorter
of those.
distance.
Shorter distance, meaning like sprint, Olympic, half Ironman.
How many
That was the
Ironman
vast
did you do?
two
Ooh,
Ironmans. Yeah, 2016 and 2019, and then I was like my last triathlon was a escape from Alcatraz in 2022. And
fun.
yeah, I did that one. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, really
You're a
difficult,
badass.
very cold water. Thank you. But I don't do triathlons anymore because here's what I noticed. I do a lot of blood work. So I was taking my testosterone maybe once a year, free total, and other markers like that. But I just looked at my testosterone again earlier this year. It skyrocketed because like the last couple of years I haven't been doing this long chronic endurance training and just beating my body to shit basically. So I have been focusing a lot more on obviously strength
So yours is
training,
similar to
heavy
mine, right? You
lifting.
see test
Yes.
results, and now you're like,
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. Yeah, so like I never had to your answer your question, I never had a really serious injury, but it was prolonged feeling like shit or not feeling as good as I could have been feeling for me to finally realize, hey, all right, maybe we need to take back a step back from this ultra endurance stuff and focus more on weightlifting, mobility, getting like sufficient sleep, and the diet has always been there for me since about 2014. That's when I kind of made my shift when I was in the Navy. Um, I really saw a lot of benefits with primal style eating, so mostly whole foods basically is what I tell people. Um, so that has never been a really big issue, but yeah, for me the real wake up call was yeah, probably earlier this year when I actually saw the testosterone like being way higher than it was in like my late 20s, which, shouldn't
So you're
happen,
saying
but
when you were doing the longer
when
distances,
it
it was killing
yes.
your testosterone?
Yes,
But
exactly. And
yet the
energy
shorter
levels.
spurts and the sprinting is increasing your testosterone.
Yes, exactly. So I'm doing like less frequent resistance training type stuff. So I do CrossFit style training, but I just tell people it's a mix of weightlifting and cardiovascular training. That's what it is. I keep the word CrossFit out of it. All right, it's high intensity interval training, it's weightlifting. All right,
Yeah.
that's it. Because I mentioned CrossFit and people have all sorts of different ideas about what it is, but weightlifting, cardio, that's what
Yeah.
I do. And I do sometimes some days low intensity, recovery days, some days high intensity, and I know now kind of when to back it off. And, I still push myself way too hard. Like I play recreational hockey too. And these tournaments that we do, like a few weeks ago, I did a tournament that was 5 games in 2 days. Just absolutely ridiculous. And each game, I had about 10 or 11 shifts that were near my maximal heart rate. And what do you know? A few days after that, I got sick. Yeah, go figure. Yeah, so I still push myself way too hard on occasion, but I have a lot more awareness regarding
Are
where
you
my
in your
body is
30s?
at.
How old are you?
36. Yeah. So, and yeah, I'm feeling it, in my joints occasionally, like when I don't do my accessory exercises, yeah, stuff tends to come back, especially in my knees. My left shoulder is, it's like popcorn sometimes when I
Physical,
don't do my
but there's value to
yeah.
doing physical therapy. I feel like I'll be in it for the
Oh
rest of
yeah.
my life because I do
Yeah.
those pick marbles up with your feet that I wouldn't do on my
Yeah,
own if someone wasn't
exactly.
watching me.
Yeah, but I like to call it prehab too. Like what you do
Exactly.
before your exercise, right? You're not necessarily injured at this point, but to prevent injury, you got to do the prehab.
Mobility.
Yes, exactly. Activation of small stabilizing muscle groups that make a big difference. Are
That
these?
I
Are
skipped
these?
my whole life.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy
me
when I
too.
did my
Yeah.
NASM, they teach you
Hmm.
so much on balance and stability, and that comes before speed and strength and everything else. And all of us in life, and me, I was the spearheader of it, like skipped over, right? Because I was last. So I didn't have any small muscle mobility balance. I had nothing about me in that training, and I just went for like, I don't want to be last. I'm not going to be last. And I skipped all of that balance and stability. And so many people do, right? They just like, they never worked out and they go join a CrossFit or they go do it's like, no, 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 you got to work all your balance and stability. So
Hmm.
now I'm learning the balance and stability in reverse.
Yeah.
So it was like, was I
Right.
never
Well,
going
a lot of what
to
you do in Legree, to my understanding, is core work, like core
Oh,
stability.
Legree is my
Yeah.
physical therapy. It's not. I
Yeah.
also go to physical therapy, but it's a lot of balance and stability, which
Yes.
it helps me so much because I
Hmm.
box too. So I'm one sided, sideways. It's hard
Hmm.
for me to square. So it's hard for me to square. Thank God for Muay Thai. So I square up a little bit, but to get that right leg forward is like my whole hips are shifted. You look at my
Hmm.
X-ray, I look like a boxer. It's like shifted in my
Hmm.
hip. So I
Wow.
got to learn to shift the other way. And Legree helps me
Yeah.
with that a lot. And it's
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
street. I go in my pajamas.
Yeah. It's all core bracing. I mean, core bracing is one of the first things you should learn when you're even thinking about lifting weights or doing any sort of resistance training routine or any sort of exercise routine. Just about every person I work with, I have them do
Nobody
a push
learns
up.
it.
Yeah, what's that?
Nobody learns it.
No, nobody learns it. Like I have everybody do a standard push-up when I first assess them. Every single time, like 99% of people will have a
Back.
sagging lower back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they don't understand how to brace their lower abdomen and also
Listen,
like
I
the
was a
just their
fitness
deeper
trainer and
muscles.
I didn't
Yeah.
really get how to brace. Like I got it, because words are so limiting and they'll say like, oh, brace. And people go, oh, and they squeeze it. But people don't get the activation of the pelvic floor
The hip
and really
tilts.
small
Yes.
muscles. And I didn't
Hmm.
learn until I went to a pelvic floor specialist.
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah.
got to get where I was braced and the breathing, right? So you learn the whole breathing and the whole flow, and we really have like all these different floors that we're dealing with, and
Hmm.
it's so much to learn. Crazy.
Hmm. It is, yeah. Well, that's why it helps to have a coach. So
Yeah.
another thing I talk about in my book is like, okay, I don't coach that much anymore. I have a couple clients while I'm working on my PhD, but
Wow. In
um,
what?
yeah,
PhD in what?
kinesiology. Yeah, kinesiology.
I love you. You're the best.
Yeah.
Where are you
Oh,
going
thank
for
you.
that?
Yeah, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So out
Is
here
that
in Vegas.
online or in person?
No, in person. Yeah, we have a whole research group and everything. I do military human performance stuff.
You're
So,
amazing.
yeah. Oh,
That's
thank you.
amazing. A
Thank you.
PhD in kinesiology?
Yeah, yeah. And I wasn't going to go back for it. And then 2024 hit, and I was like thinking about things again. I was like,
How much
okay,
time
let's
do you have
go and
left?
finish.
All of it. 4 years.
A little over a year. Yeah,
And you're
I'm
done?
over halfway done. Yeah.
And you're going to
Hmm.
be doctor?
I will be Dr. Wolf. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Thank
That's
you.
like the
Thank you.
best field of study.
It's
Kinesiology. I love
really,
it.
really fascinating. And yeah, it's forcing me to get into all the research and really learn how to read the research critically and things to look for and but also what to pick out of the research that's actually useful for people, right? Because it's a lot of jargon, right? So you need somebody to translate it to for people for it to make sense. So,
PhD in kinesiology. I didn't
yeah.
even think they offered a lot of programs like that. So when I went to college,
Yeah.
I wanted to major in anatomy, and they didn't have anatomy. So my first bachelor's was actually chemistry, which I don't tell anyone because I don't know anything. It was just like a means to get to be a doctor at
Mm,
that age when I wanted to. But I didn't see and ever kinesiology. Is that
hmm.
like, was it
Yeah.
hard to find a program?
Well, so here at UNLV, they call it interdisciplinary health sciences. But what it is they want you to work with different disciplines, obviously, right? So psychologists, nutritionists, because everything impacts the human as a whole, right? So they
Like what
want
we
you to
talked
start
about, whole
thinking that
language and
way.
phonics. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But when I tell people, all right, IHS, well, I mean, all right, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything to people. So I just tell people kinesiology, study human movement, how exercise affects the body, both in the long term and the short term. That's essentially what it
And
is.
muscle testing.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
which
big
is
part of it
amazing.
too. Yeah, yeah. In my dissertation, we're looking at a couple different movement patterns for military people. So how first off, like how does body armor affect your ability to do your job? And then how does a crouched walking pattern differ from an upright walking pattern? And how much more strenuous is that? And the crouch, it comes into whenever somebody in a combat role is holding their weapon up, they're typically walking in a crouch to stabilize their weapon a little bit more. So we want to see the actual physiological differences. So what's the difference in VO2, heart rates, their perceived exertion between those two walking patterns. So that's my line of research, and it's
So what are
it's
you going to do
really
with this
exciting.
when you're done?
Well, I'm gonna look at a number of different jobs, but I'm looking at going to work with the military, being a human performance director, or something like that. Something where I can take
Did you ever
all
do
the
Paul
skills.
Check, the Check
Yeah, I
Institute?
didn't do his certifications or anything, but yeah, I've watched him
I
a
didn't
lot,
either,
and
but I would like to.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
he's
no,
the shit in that area.
yeah, yeah,
I think
he's
it's out
very
by you
good.
too. Well, California.
Yeah, yeah, out here on the West Coast, so yeah, but
So much to
yeah,
learn
yeah, I know, but
and
yeah,
practice.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, we're about an hour in, so I think we should wrap it up. This has been an awesome conversation. So I learned
Yay.
a ton, and I really admire what you do out there in Florida. So it's
I
really really
admire
cool.
what
So
you do. I love it.
well, thank you, thank
Great.
you. But yeah, if anybody that's listening, if you're out in Florida, in Miami in particular, right, go check out Jolie's gym. I'm sure you'll have a great time there. Do you have? I'm assuming you have drop-ins where people could just come
Oh
try it
yeah,
out
but
and
I do
everything. Or?
online coaching. Is that I do
Oh, okay.
online group coaching, and I do.
Hmm.
Thank God for COVID in that respect. That I was like, oh, I could change lives in China. But yes, we have drop-ins. People come from all over the world because I'm right on South Beach, so
Okay.
that's the big one. Yeah,
Awesome. Excellent. And
and my
like I
books.
said before, yes, I will link to Jolie's books. I will link to my book. I will link to Jolie's website as well, so you guys can get in touch. And also, there is one last question I like to ask people before we sign off. So, what is one of the most impactful pieces of advice you can give to someone, whether they are on a journey to um, just develop and maintain a healthy lifestyle or something they can improve in their life to help them move forward from wherever they might be stuck? Maybe just one piece of actionable advice aside from what we
I'd
talked.
like to tell, I mean, there's so much, right? So, like, what do you
Yeah,
tell a person?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I always like to tell people to start with their morning routine because how you start your day, you fit the ends justify the means. So, start with your morning routine and then add in your night routine, but have a routine in the morning that serves you. So many people just get up and get ready and go to work and they have no time, or they'll say, I don't have time. They didn't allocate for a kick ass morning routine. And I'll have to say, I attribute like all my health to my morning routine because my morning routine is so kick ass that the rest of the day has to be great. So
Mm,
set yourself up for that. Also, everything you're doing, ask yourself if is it helpful or hurtful, and really constantly say, is this helping me or is it hurting me? Slow down, just
love
like your
that.
book, Awareness Before Action.
Mhm.
Like if you could slow down enough to ask yourself, right between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is your power to choose. So
Love it.
choose,
Yeah,
slow down to choose wisely and don't let life happen to you. Let you do life. And be like,
yeah.
oh shit, I ate
I
that
loved
today.
it.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
love that advice. And was that Viktor Frankl that said that?
I
Was
think he
that
did.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Victor
Okay.
Frank.
Yeah.
But right,
Awesome.
me and you get that space more because we do breath work. So people who do breath work and do meditation can have life more like a smorgasbord where it's happening in front of them as opposed to through them. So,
Yes.
but the key is to start with your morning routine.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah.
And if you could get your morning routine down, then you could get your evening routine down, and the rest just kind of flows from there. So it's all about
Yeah.
routine. So love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jolie.
Thank you. Great being with you.